might just as well turn me over. I will be able to do them quickly and correctly. I am easily managed. You will merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I'm a servant of all great individuals and at the last of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, though I will work with all the precise of a machine plus the intelligence of a human. You may run me for profit or run me for ruin. It will make no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy, and I will destroy you.
Ooh, oh man, talk about a riddle for the morning, huh? So there's a lot going on here. Hopefully you were following along. I'm gonna give you guys like a minute to think about the riddle, and your goal is to answer the question, who am I? What could this riddle be talking about? And you can start guessing in the chat, but in about a minute, I'll start taking guesses. It's from a book, but yeah, you haven't spoiled it yet, just yet, Philip. Yeah, but yeah, it is from a book. It's a good book, by the way. All right. For the sake of time, let's go ahead and let's take some guesses. What do you guys think this riddle is talking about? Who or what could it be referring to? And you can type your guesses in the chat. Let me get at least 3 guesses. Sebastian, a brain. Very good guess. It's actually very close to the answer. Sebastian, what makes you say a brain?
It's just like talking about how if you train it, it could be like really strong, or if you just go easy on it, it's gonna be really weak. So that kind of reminded me if you're lazy or not.
So it fits kind of like the criteria of what the riddle is talking about.
Yeah.
Anthony is saying a pet, like a dog or cat. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it makes sense. Why do you mention that, Anthony? A pet.
So I said because I am easily managed, you must merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically.
Yeah, I could see, and it's similar to what like Sebastian was saying. So there's like an element of training and learning, and like whatever this thing or whoever this is, it operates in a fairly simple manner, right? Very cool. I love the analysis. You guys are close. Sebastian's probably a little closer, but I think in principle, you guys are very close. All right, let's get one more guess before we reveal the answer. Time. Yeah. Angel, what makes you say time? I could see why you would say time.
I said time because it says it's easily managed, and usually you have to manage time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things here, right? It's like constant companion. Yeah, time is always there. It's a burden.
Yeah.
Easily a command. Time can be precise. You can run me for profit. These are all really good responses. You guys are practicing something called divergent thinking, where you're considering like all the possibilities of what this might be. So, all right, there is one person who got it like 30 seconds in and they messaged me. Can you go ahead and share what this is? This person was messaging me privately earlier. Yeah, it's a habit. It's a habit. So this riddle is talking about habits. So habits are constant companions. They can be very helpful or our heaviest burdens. They can be managed. You have to be strict with them. I am the servant of all great individuals and the last of all failures as well. So all of these things apply to habits. You guys had some really, really good guesses, but yeah, cool. It's a cool riddle. Cool. So yeah, if you haven't guessed it today, we're gonna be talking about a few different topics. We're gonna be talking about habits, principles, and paradigms. We've got some videos, we've got some group discussion, and then we also have some reading available for you to do. But it's a nice topic, and these topics come from the book 7 Effective Habits for Highly Effective Teams. It's a version of the book 7 Effective Habits for Highly Effective People, but this one's just the teen version. It's one of the bestsellers in self-improvement, and it's written by Dr. Stephen Covey. So we're going to start off the morning looking at just habits and paradigms, specifically habits first. I've got a video for you guys just to kind of ease us into the topic, and then we'll do some group discussion in a moment.
What if I told you that the reason you had Minty Fresh... Hey smart people, Joe here. What if I told you that the reason you had minty fresh breath this morning was because 100 years ago an advertiser named Claude C. Hopkins was having trouble selling a brand of toothpaste? See, he needed to convince people that brushing their teeth should be a daily routine, and back then it wasn't for most people. In the end, he was able to get half the American public to pick up a new behavior and repeat it every single day and pay money for his toothpaste. How did he do it? By tapping into neuroscience and decoding the awesome power of habits. Habits, we've all got them. You can probably think of a few of your own. I always seem to tap my feet when I'm trying to sit still, and I find myself biting my nails whenever I'm focused on reading or watching a movie. I don't consciously think about doing these things. It's because I've done them so often, they become a habit. We know habits as things we do automatically, tasks we do subconsciously, like walking or high-fiving. There's tons of things that technically count as habits, and they can be good or bad. So why do we form habits? And how do we learn new ones or unlearn old ones? If you take the same path to school or work, then you likely have that pathway burned into your brain. You can probably walk it without even paying attention. Habits are built in a similar way. New neural pathways are formed when you repeat a behavior. And the more that a brain circuit fires, the easier it becomes for our brain to do whatever that circuit controls without conscious thought. Think back to how you learned how to ride a bike. At first, riding a bike is tough. You've got to learn how to pedal and balance and turn all at the same time. You have to consciously think about each action. This happens in an area of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, the part associated with complex thought. But eventually, after you ride enough, you no longer have to think consciously about each individual action. Riding a bike has become a habit, and now it's controlled by different parts of your brain. One area involved in habitual behavior is the striatum, which actually releases chemicals that inhibit the complex thinking part of your brain for that task. This is your brain being efficient. By turning down your brain's thinking requirements for, say, bike riding, it's free to think other things like, how exactly do igloos keep you warm? Let's go back to Claude Hopkins and his toothpaste scheme. Claude realized habits have 3 key ingredients: a cue, a behavior, and a reward. A cue is something that triggers a behavior, like how the alarm clock triggers you punching the snooze button, and this is followed by the reward: 9 sweet extra minutes of sleep. Claude got people thinking about that slimy film on your teeth in the morning, thanks to the bacteria that colonize your mouth overnight. The sticky film is the cue that triggers brushing behavior. Well, what's the reward? Claude convinced people this film would make their smile look ugly, and a prettier smile was the reward for brushing. Claude understood that with the right cue and the right reward, you could entice people to do just about whatever behavior you wanted. But what he didn't know was that rewarding a behavior can actually create a craving. And this is what makes habits so strong. Scientists now know that special neurons in the brain can fire and give us chemical rewards. But what's weird is that once a habit and a reward are tied together in our brain, those reward neurons start firing before you do the behavior. This is what causes craving, and it's why you want popcorn when you go to the movies, why you pick up your bad habits when you see other people doing them, and why habits are so hard to break. Claude knew a prettier smile would be a reward that would make people brush, but he didn't anticipate that over time people would subconsciously start craving the minty tingle that Pepsodent left in their mouth. People's brains actually started to crave toothbrushing. So how can you train yourself to pick up a new habit, like eating an apple a day? And if you've got a bad habit, can you break it, or are you stuck with it forever? Scientists used to think that our brains didn't change all that much once we reached adulthood, like concrete once it's solidified. But it turns out your brain is much more like clay. It's a super flexible organ. The chemistry of your brain is constantly changing as you go about your day, in response to everything from learning to moving to hunger. These chemical releases are short-lived, but over time, if the same behaviors are repeated, the physical structure of the brain is actually changed. You create new neural pathways. And because the neural network has changed, so does the way the information flows. When a behavior is repeated often enough, a habit is formed. There's this famous idea that a new skill is learned by putting 10,000 hours of work into it. But it's not that simple. The amount of time differs hugely between tasks and between people. What's for sure is that when it comes to making a habit, whether it's learning guitar or meditation, there's simply no substitute for repetition. The reason bad habits are so hard to break is because you've literally woven new neural networks into your brain. That doesn't go away overnight. So give yourself a break. And if you're trying to change a habit, know that it's usually best to try and replace bad behavior with a new behavior, instead of just trying to erase the pattern altogether. The good thing is that now you know you have the power to change your brain. It's as easy as brushing your teeth. And if you haven't made it a habit already, stay curious.
Alrighty, very cool stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a group discussion before we continue learning about habits, and then I have you work on a reading and a worksheet. So here we go. All right, So let's see if you guys can remember one of the things that they talked about in video. And one of the things that they talked about in the video was habit formation. What triggers a habit to form? Do you guys remember what the video mentioned? It starts with one thing specifically. You guys can use the chat. Yes, yes. Fill up where your brain starts giving you chemical rewards. Yes, Katie, you were spot on. A cue. There's a cue or a trigger, right? And then, so there's a cue. Katie, what is the cue for you? Like a cue that triggers a specific behavior for you, or a craving or a reaction from you?
Sure.
Sugar. Okay. Got it. So for example, Katie, if you're walking by the kitchen and there's cookies on the table, right? How are you feeling as you're walking by looking at the cookies?
I'm curious.
You start getting curious, maybe craving the cookies, Katie?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so you have the cue, which is like the visual stimulus of seeing the cookies. And then your brain remembers, hey, when I ate that cookie, it was tasty. I want the tasty. And so the behavior would then be to eat the cookie. And then when you eat the cookie, what Philip is saying is correct. You get the chemical rewards going on in your brain. So here's another example, right? Here's one that a lot of adults fall into, and some young people do, which I hope you don't fall into too much, right? So for example, people wake up, the trigger is feeling tired. People wake up feeling tired, and they've remembered that when they drink coffee, they stop feeling tired and instead start feeling awake or perky, right? So feelings of tiredness is the trigger, and then the activity or the action is drinking the coffee, and then the reward is feeling awake. So you guys got it. The second question, I don't know if you guys caught it near the end. I'm just going to call on folks for this one. Joseph, can habits be changed, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, they can. You're correct, Joseph. All right. And then from the video, or maybe from what you understand about habits, can someone help me answer this question? What makes a habit different than an action based on a decision? So what makes a habit different than an action based on a decision? Do you want to help us out here, Cindy?
A habit is something that you automatically know what to do with it, and a decision is something that you're still deciding if you're going to do it.
Yes. Yeah, you use the key word there, Cindy. You use the keyword automatic. You automatically don't have to think about what you need to do. You just do it. And then in the video, one of the things that's crazy is I don't know if you caught this, but in the video talks about how your brain, right? There's like the part of your brain where you do higher level thinking, complex thought. But when it comes to habits, behaviors that you do repeatedly, your brain actually shuts that part down. It's like, no. Aliani, you've done this many, many times. You don't have to think about this. We got this. And so it shuts off that part, right, where you think about it in a complex manner because it's so ingrained in your muscle memory or in your neural pathways, like the video was talking about. So just some things to keep in mind on habits. And then just to kind of, again, really emphasize the importance of habits and why are we starting with habits? Like, why is this the first thing we talk about? Can I have a volunteer to read this quote? The gentlemen were on fire this morning, so I want to hear from a lady. Ms. Catherine, do you mind reading this quote for us? Are you still here? All right, we'll come back to Catherine. Jessica, do you mind reading the quote for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Carefully watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Manage and watch your words, for they will become your actions. Consider and judge your actions, for they have become your habits. Acknowledge and watch your habits, for they shall become your values. Understand and embrace your values, for they become your destiny.
So what's going on here, Jessica? So we read, this very long paragraph, but Gandhi made some connections to different things. What's your takeaway from this, Jessica?
That basically everything you do, like it becomes something you'll probably constantly do.
Yeah, right. So it's your brain wants to take the easy way out. It wants to do routines. It wants to pick the same thing. I don't know if you guys ever have gone to a restaurant. Some people just get the same thing. It's very easy. Like our brains are hardwired to expend the least amount of energy. And so when you are living your life, it's very easy to kind of fall into the same thoughts, the same words. But part of being a human being is that you can monitor some of these things, right, that Gandhi is talking about. And he's basically saying, like, watch what you think, watch what you say, watch what you do, because it's very easy to repeat those things. And more importantly, whatever becomes a habit for you in your thinking and your actions, it's going to become who you are, right? That's who you're going to become. So he's saying if you monitor that, you keep an eye on that, you can actively shape who you become. And part of that means like understanding your habits. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to drop a link in the chat, and the section is going to be talking about habits. And then I'm also going to put another link, and it's going to have the worksheet associated with that section. I'm going to give you guys about 15 minutes to read pages 1 through 10, which talks about habits, and then for you to complete the worksheet section on habits. All right, here we go. All righty, in the chat, we have the reading material. And then the worksheet, here it is. If you have any issues opening it, let me know, and I will go ahead and share it as like a Google Drive link. But before we get started, since I'm letting you guys work on your own for a little bit, Miss Stephanie Gomez, what are we doing at this moment? What's our activity?
We're gonna read.
And we're gonna read and Stephanie.
I don't know. That's all I heard.
Oh, sorry. We're gonna read the pages 1 through 10 that talks about habits, and then you're gonna complete the worksheet.
Yeah.
And just the section on habits. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you see the documents in the chat? Are you able to open them?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Cool. All right. Hang on to that. All right. I'm gonna put 12 minutes on the clock. If you have any issues opening it. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Let me go ahead and put the link then. Okay, here's the link for the first file. That's the reading materials. And here's the link for the worksheet. All right, guys. All right. 12 minutes on the clock. All right. With that being said, for those of you who made it to the pages where he starts talking about the 7 habits of highly effective teams, let's see. Victoria, you made it all the way through. Could you read out for us? Could you pick one of the 7 habits and share with us? Pick a habit and share with us pick a habit that you do and share with us how that shows up in your life. Give an example of how you implement that habit in whichever way you do it.
Well, I picked habit number 2, begin with end in mind. And I think I do the habit pretty good because when I'm starting something, I kind of know where like my end goal is, or I know what I want it to end up like or turn out like.
Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah. So that's the habit. And right here, they haven't fully elaborated, but they're fairly simple and principle. So you got it spot on, Victoria. You start with like, okay, this is my starting point. That's my ending point. How do I get there? Right. Awesome. Let's hear from one more person. Angel, of the 7 habits that were mentioned, what's a habit that you think you're already doing and how does it show up in your life? Oh, sorry. Angel, let's hear from Angel Ruiz.
One of the habits is it's habit 4, think win.
And how does that show up in your life? How are you implementing that habit?
It's because I always have like the mentality, like not only because of like always like push forward or like I help or not help, but like I tell everyone like, oh, you can do it. And, like even like in sports, I tell them, oh, you can win. Oh, sorry.
Got it. So you encourage people, you help them see like the positive in that situation. Got it. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I mean, you guys kind of get the point. And in the worksheet, I did ask you to write that, what's one of these habits that you think you're already doing and how does it show up in your life? Just for the sake of discussion and just so that we can all learn from each other. Why don't we, in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, write out some habits that we practice, some good habits that we have. A good habit that Mr. Marquez has is walking after dinner. So that is one of the habits I have that I'm like, wow, I just do it without thinking. I finish dinner and I walk. That's one I feel good about. But what are some of the good habits you practice? All right, I think everyone can type one good habit in the chat. Everybody's got at least one good habit. All right, Anthony, being proactive. Working out. Like it, Sebastian. Taking care of others. That's a good one. Katie. Reading, that's a great one. Yeah, being active. Another good one. Angel, thank you. And these habits don't have to come from the 7 that are mentioned. Just want to hear some. Resting, I like it. All right. So these are some good habits people have. Aliani, what's a habit that you have? A good habit that you're proud of having? Jogging in the morning. There you go. There you go. Awesome. So like good habits, we also have bad habits, right? So it's good to take stock of like what we're doing good and what we're doing not so good. This one you can for sure message me privately if you would like, but what's maybe a not so good habit that you have? Let's see. I think a bad habit that I have is probably like not calling friends and family frequently enough. Some people in the chat are saying overthinking, spending too much time on the phone, procrastinating, coffee. We got another overthinking. Yeah. And thank you for sharing. And one of the things that I guess a final thought just to keep in mind in the reading that I really appreciated was it said, think of the bad habits that you have. And then it says, what if you did the opposite of that, right? How much better would your life be, right? So if you're an overthinker, letting certain things go a little bit more, thinking less of those things, right? Whatever bad habits you have, you want to try to overcome them if you can. And if you remember from the video, they mentioned that it's better to replace a habit than to just end a habit completely. So if you're an overthinker, maybe instead of when you're feeling overwhelmed with thinking, you want to go ahead and maybe journal, right? Instead of spending time on your phone, maybe do some yoga, do some stretches, go cook. But yeah, that is one of the recommendations they made in the video about replacing bad habits, is replace it with a good habit. All right, guys. Yes, thank you. I read out all my thoughts when I overthink. It helps a lot. That's all we have for today. We're going to cover the other sections in future sessions. Go ahead and email me the portion of the worksheet that you have completed. Here is my email. And you guys are going to be heading off with Mr. Fam. in just one moment. No, you do not have to complete the whole worksheet. Just go ahead and send me what you have. And I'm just looking for the habit part, because we're going to cover principles and paradigms in the future. This was just to get us started. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you found the reading informative. You're welcome to keep reading, by the way, in case you didn't finish. And go ahead and send me what you were able to get done. The habit portion is not too difficult to complete. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys join Mr. Pham's room for the math portion of this Saturday Academy. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Agala, we just wrapped up talking about habits.
The burger place?
I wish. No, just like normal habits.
Oh, you said habit or habit. Oh, okay. If you said habits, I would have understood that.
We're talking about the habits. No, we're talking about normal habits.
Got it.